Hello, 8th grade. Welcome to Unit 8, Three-Dimensional Geometry. We are going to talk about surface area and volume of various three-dimensional shapes. Today's lesson is 8.7b, surface area of prisms using nets. This is a review of 7th grade, as you did learn how to find surface area using the net view in 7th grade. And so the net view is when they take that three-dimensional object and they unfold it or open it up so you can see all of the different shapes in that three-dimensional shape. A prism is a three-dimensional figure with two parallel congruent faces. Parallel means right side by side, just like parallel lines when we did the angle relationships. And congruent means that they're the same distance, the same angle measure. Same size, same shape. Called faces, and you have bases, and then the rectangular lateral faces. And the lateral are the sides. So you've got your two faces. Those are also known as the bases. It's the bottom. It's what it's sitting on for its intended purpose. Like a Kleenex box, you have portrait and landscape Kleenex boxes. So you have to look at what that shape, that prism is being used for to determine what the base is going to be. A net is when they open that up and give you a two-dimensional representation that can be folded to form a three-dimensional figure. Surface area is the sum of all the areas of all the faces. This is going to include those two bases that we talked about in the prism definition, and their three-dimensional figure, and the lateral faces, so all shapes. The lateral surface area is not going to use the bases. They are not going to use the top and the bottom of the bases, or they're only going to use the lateral faces. That's the around the lateral. So it says that it may be helpful for some students to label at least two dimensions of each face of the net. So you will see the red highlighted or red border is going to be the two bases. It is a 10 by 10 square. The blue is your lateral faces, or the side of that 3D shape. And it is a 10 by 12, 10 by 12, 10 by 12. They're all 10 by 12, and there's 4 of them. So in 7th grade, you would have taken the areas of each of those boxes, and you would have added them all together. So for example, the area is base times height, so 12 times 10, which would have given you 120. You would have had that 120 4 times, because there are 4 lateral faces. So you would have taken the 120 and multiplied it by 4, because there are 4 faces. But then you would have added the area of the red shapes, the bases, the two bases, and 10 times 10 is 100. And you have 2 bases. You have the top and the bottom. So you would have multiplied that by 2. And then finally, you would have added each of those together to get the sum. And I'll show that further down on your notes. And it's already printed in the box for you on the left. Let's talk about your triangular prism. The triangular prism has a triangle for the base. You're going to find the area of a triangle by doing the base of 10 times the height of the triangle, and then you divide it by 2. That is your formula. You've been using that since 6th grade. You used it again in 7th grade. So these formulas are on your star chart, and they are the big B. So let's go on down about halfway through your paper. So let's finish reviewing, finding the faces and the bases of your rectangular prism on the left and your triangular prism on the right. So the number of total faces on your rectangular prism is going to be indicated by the number of shapes you have. And so let's take a look at that net view. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 lateral faces, and you have 1, 2 bases. So 4 plus 2 is 6. That is how we get the 6 bases total. The figure is a rectangular prism because the shape of the bases, marked in red, is a rectangle or a square. So that makes it a rectangular prism. Since there are 4 identical lateral faces with a base of 10 inches and a height of 12 inches, you multiply those together to get the area of the shape, which is 120. And then just like we said earlier, right here in the notes, you take that and multiply it by 4 because there are 4 lateral faces. It'll give you a total of 480. So the lateral surface area is 480 square inches. That's just the sides, just the blue face parts. To find the total area, you're going to keep the 480, but then you're going to add the area of the red boxes, the bases. 10 times 10 is 100. You have 2 of those, so that gives you 200. 200 plus 480 is 680 square inches. Moving on to the triangular prism. We know it is a triangular prism because the shape of the bases is, they're triangles. You have 1, 2 bases. You have top and the bottom. Now you have 1, 2, 3 lateral faces. So 3 plus 2 is 5. That's why you have a total of 5 faces. Now the reason that they gave you different colors on your lateral faces is because they each have a different measurement based on the 3 sides of the triangle. The one in the middle is going to be a 10 by 8. And that's, you'll do 10 times 8 to give you your area of 80. The green one is an 8 by 8, which will give you an area of 64. And the purple is 8 by 6, which gives you an area of 48. Add each of those together to give you a total lateral area of 192 centimeters squared. Please make sure you square when you're multiplying base times height, because it's a centimeter times a centimeter. Now that gives you the lateral surface area. Just like the rectangular prism, we're going to take that lateral surface area of 192 centimeters squared, and we're going to add the area of the 2 triangles. So your base of the triangle is 6, and you have a height of 8. 6 times 8 is 48. Divide that by 2, and it's going to give you an area of 24 for 1 triangle. But you have 2 triangles. You have 2 bases, one here and one here. So that's why we multiply it by 2. And that's going to give us a total of 240 centimeters squared. All right. Now, I know I already gave you the answer to the last 2 problems on the bottom of your notes, but I'd like for you to pause the video and work through those steps after you have completed the work. Make any notes you have, any questions you have, and come chat with me about it. Otherwise, that concludes this lesson. Pause the video as long as you need to work through those problems. Otherwise, we'll move on to homework 1 and lesson 2. Thank you.